deaf and dumb. Alhamdulillah. Did the Prophet ﷺ explain the letters Alif Lam Mim at all? I mean, had he, we wouldn't have anything to say but what he said. The Prophet ﷺ, so much of the Quran, the Prophet, his life is his commentary. The Prophet ﷺ did not comment on very much of the Quran, because had he done that, nobody could interpret it after him. Had he told us, oh, it means this, then who would dare say that it meant something else? So the Prophet's life is his commentary on the Quran. The chapter in Al-Bukhari on what the Prophet ﷺ said about the Quran is actually quite small. And in the tafsirs, there's not a lot of comment from the Prophet ﷺ about the Quran itself. Because his life is the comment. The Sunnah is the commentary. The companions did. Ibn Abbas had things to say about it. The companions did have remarks about Alif Lam Mim. You can see them in the Mutawwalat. If you read Fakhruddin al-Razi's first volume, there's a lot on that. Again, Imam al-Baydawi, if you get Sheikh Haddad's, Jibril Haddad's extraordinary translation and really commentary as well, because he has a lot of annotations. You can find things in there in English. Yeah, al-Baydawi and al-Baghawi, you spoke earlier about the two tafsirs, al-Baydawi and al-Baghawi, as two approaches to Quran. Can you elaborate a little more? The al-Baydawi and al-Baghawi are very important historically. Al-Baydawi is arguably the most read commentary in the madrasa tradition, the scholastic tradition. Imam al-Baghawi is up there. A lot of al-Baydawi is dealing with, he uses the mufradat of Raghib al-Isfahani, and then he uses the Kashaf is one of his sources. So he uses a few different sources and does a lot of linguistic analysis, but it's a brilliant commentary. It's excellent. Imam al-Baghawi has a lot of he gives a lot of early exegesis, so that he's more looking at a lot of Salaf influence on it. It's a shorter commentary, but they're both excellent commentaries. You have some really truly great. Imam al-Biqa'i has a great commentary. Ibn Atiyah in Andalusia was very popular. It's more used in the West. My go-to and favorite commentary, just for kind of an immediate look, is the Tasheel li-Ulum al-Tanzil. I've been using this book for decades. It's a really beautiful. There's a critical edition too that came out from one of the Saudi scholars, it's actually really good. This one has just two volume there's 4 volumes, but in 2 books. So, but this one has a secret. Like Tasheel li-Ulum al-Tanzil of Ibn Juzay al-Kalbi, it has a secret. I've always been amazed at what's in there. He was given the gift of really being succinct, but packing meaning. And the introduction is one of the finest introductions. And I think the American scholar Musa Ferber, Sheikh Musa Ferber, has a translation of that, of the Muqaddimah of Ibn Juzay al-Kalbi. And he's a very qualified translator. He's a graduate from the Azhar's Mufti program and has studied for a long time. So that's something available in English. If the ghaib is immaterial, then are angels, jinn, and Satan also immaterial? Well, in that they're not in our dimension. So when we're talking about materiality, we're talking about things that are tools and what Allah has given us has access to. So the jinn are alongside of us. We can't see them, but they can see us. In the afterlife, it's the opposite. We can see them, they can't see us. So, and they're called jinn because they're unseen. Now, jinn also means anything la yubsar. So technically, and this is the famous controversial interpretation of Muhammad Abdu about jinn being microbes. And if you've ever seen electron microscopy of some of these viruses, I mean, they look like really bizarre little creatures. So even though viruses, there's a debate about, do they have life, or are they're inanimate? So they have some kind of form. They certainly can wreak havoc through their replication and using our cells. But the jinn are they're all around. They tend to, according to our tradition, they live in more isolated places, but they can bother human beings and wreak havoc. So, and they're good jinn and they're bad jinn. And every tradition, I mean, this is one of the mysteries of our planet, that there's no traditional culture that doesn't have some concept of the spirit world. There's no culture. You'll find no pre-modern culture that doesn't have some understanding. Now, material scientists would say, well, of course, because they're trying to explain all these phenomena that they couldn't understand, and it was just an easy way of doing that. Well, that's fine. Again, we'll just have to wait and see. The Prophet ﷺ was asked about how his ummah would end, and Aisha and Ibn Hajar wrote a book called Al-Ma'un fi Fada'il al-Ta'un, help in the virtues of plagues. Because again, Muslims have a very different way of viewing things. I mean, I'll give you a good example. I was once in Mauritania with a very famous sheikh. He's the father of one of the former muftis of Mauritania, Mukhtar Wad Mbala. He's a beautiful sheikh in Mauritania, very learned man and a student of Sheikh Abdullah bin Bayaz. But Mukhtar Wad Mbala, his father was an amazing sheikh, and he was well into his 90s. And we were eating, and in Mauritania they have lots of flies. So it's just a lot, because it's hot, desert climate, there's a lot of flies. In fact, Mauritanians would often pour sugared water in the corner to get all the flies to go over there so they could eat without the flies. I mean, that's how bad it could be. And so there's constantly swatting flies away. So the sheikh asked me, do they have flies in America? And I said, actually, we don't really have that many flies. We don't see flies very often. He said, A'udhu billah. He said, A'udhu billah. Ista'jal al-ni'mah. Like getting all the blessings here. Like he didn't see it as a good thing. He saw it as a negative thing. It's a different way of looking at the world. It's just, Dunya's supposed to be, Ba'al Zubab, right? I mean, that's the name of the devil, Lord of the Flies. Beelzebub. Ba'al Zubab. Yeah, Lord of the Flies. Yeah. So the dunya is a place of flies. It's a stinky place. This is the nature of the dunya. And that's why the ulama say, don't bathe for a few days and you start stinking. Like just even our bodies, and children don't, like babies don't stink because they don't have sin. No sin. Alhamdulillah.